They say history belongs to everyone, that archives exist to protect truth, preserve knowledge, and serve the public. That's only half right. I worked at a federal archive site just outside of DC, not the flashy National Building with marble columns, one of the satellite vaults. Underground, cooled air, fluorescent buzz, that kind of place. The work was simple. Boxes came in, you logged them, scanned them, shelved them. Sometimes they were 80-year-old payroll forms, sometimes topographic maps from forgotten wars. Sometimes they didn't have labels. One night I was logging late, no one else around. A rolling cart was left near the freight door. No login, no sender code, no barcode. Inside was a plain folder, old, yellowed. No date, just the words. Read only once. Naturally, I opened it. 4 pages, handwritten, neat cursive, no title, just an opening line. This is not a record, it is a reminder. What followed wasn't instructions or policy or anything I could classify. It was a story or a confession or maybe something worse. And at the end, a single sentence. You are now part of the record. I tried to close it, tried to refile it, but the pages were gone, blank, still warm. I checked the cart, checked the logs, nothing. The cameras that night, wiped. That was the beginning. And it wasn't the last file like that. Federal archives aren't like libraries. They're not made for you to browse, to learn, to explore. They're made to store and to forget. Most people imagine old men in suits reading historical documents with magnifying glasses. Reality, digital bins, automated shelves, cold, silent rooms, floors marked by access level, not department. We had a joke. The deeper the shelf, the darker the truth. Some records were fully open, some redacted, some locked by law. And then there were the black files. Unmarked folders, no codes, no handlers. Sometimes they were placed overnight, sometimes already there when you arrived in the morning. We weren't supposed to read them, just route them to storage theta. No questions. But everyone read one, at least once. Curiosity's part of the job. One guy read a letter from the 1960s about a man who predicted 3 political assassinations with dates. One was off by 2 days, the rest exact. Another found an interview transcript, allegedly from 1947, 2 voices, one human, one not. The tape it came with, blank, but the transcript still warm to the touch. One night, I stayed late, tried to map the origin of one of these documents. No record of entry, no box number, no department signature. Just a phrase handwritten in red ink across the last page. You cannot archive what was never filed. After that, I started noticing patterns. Folders with identical handwriting across decades. Files that returned after being destroyed. Documents that referenced events that hadn't happened yet. And that's when I realized, not everything in the archive comes from the past. Another was my supervisor's. Another, a senator I'd never met, but whose funeral was announced 2 weeks later. I showed it to my boss. He looked at me and said, "Close that file, never speak of it again." Next day he was transferred, never said goodbye. When I checked the system, his name was gone, as if he never worked there. That's when I started hearing the phrase, whispered among archivists, never allowed. Some records aren't stored, they're kept. That month I began to change. Sleep came harder. I'd wake up remembering things I didn't experience, like I'd read a document in a dream. Once I walked past a sealed vault and heard breathing, not mechanical, not human, like pages turning themselves. A colleague told me she found a folder with her mother's handwriting, a note she hadn't written yet. It ended with, "I forgive you." Her mother was still alive. Another archivist swore she saw her own obituary, dated 5 years in the future. She took medical leave the next day, never returned. Then came file 0, left on my desk, no return bin, no notes, just black paper, the kind that doesn't reflect light. Written in a language I couldn't translate, but I understood it, not with my eyes and with something else. As I read, I began to cry, not from fear, from memory, as if I already knew what it said. When I blinked, the pages were gone. In their place, my badge, snapped clean in half. I put in my resignation the next day. HR said I was never officially employed, that I'd volunteered for a clearance project. I went home, packed everything, burned old notebooks, but the mail kept coming. Unmarked envelopes, single sentences, always typed. Things like, "The moment you looked, you agreed. You are your own record." Pages remember. I moved states, changed names. Still, the files find me. Once I opened my fridge and found a manila envelope under the eggs. Inside, a picture of me sleeping. Timestamp next week. Another time I received a call. No number, just a voice. Please stop remembering. It's destabilizing the shelves. Now I don't touch paper, I don't write, and when I see a file left unattended, I walk away. Because here's what I learned too late. The archives don't just hold history, they grow it. And if you read too deep, you don't walk away with knowledge, you walk away with responsibility. So if you ever get access to a restricted archive, if they tell you it's harmless, just old paper, and you find a folder with no name, no date, in ink that never dries, don't read it. And if you do, never read it twice, because some records aren't meant to be studied, they're meant to be activated. And the moment you open it, you're not researching anymore, you're being written. If this story made something click deep inside, like this video, subscribe to the channel. We collect what others try to forget. And if you missed the last episode about the strange rituals behind private millionaire clubs, watch this. He was hired to serve drinks at a millionaire's club. What he saw during the initiation ritual still haunts him. Because sometimes the most dangerous knowledge is the kind that never asks your permission.